Oshun, alanga la fila fuye, alanga la ferrekayere, Oshun la fila fuye, alanga la fila fuye, Oshun, alanga la fila fuye, alanga la ferrekayere, Oshun la fila fuye, alanga la fila fuye, Oshun, alanga la fila fuye, alanga.
So this is the prayer we're going to use for this healing, okay? And as far as God is concerned, you know, I'm not a part of any particular religion, not to choose or to limit myself in that way. I'm for everyone. So I'm here to help you heal everyone, no matter what you call God, what your religion is, what book you go to. That is beyond what the work I do here. Everyone has a heart. Everyone has gone through pain. So when I say God and use God, by whatever name you call him, whatever relationship you have with him, whatever book you use to connect with him, that's on you, okay? But this is the prayer. O Most High, you are my sustainer. You are my parent. I am your child. I seek refuge in you from my own disagreeable deeds. I acknowledge your favors to me, and I acknowledge my disagreeable acts. Forgive me my disagreeableness, for there is no one and no place I'd rather be than with you. Please take my pain and restore my soul. Amen. Ashe, so be it. Okay? Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to Ninti's Heart Chakra. This particular video is on grief. So, of course, it's heavy. I'm already in a heavy place. I see how God is working this with my other channel. I had a reading I did recently, and you know, the grief energy hit very deep. I picked up on something, and I knew I was gonna have to do a video, and God basically directed it for it to happen this morning. You know, I was sitting out. I do my usual morning meditation, wake up, sit out, drink some coffee. And, you know, I get a lot of, you know, just downloads in that time, and just start thinking about, you know, it just took me there, you know, a lot of my loved ones that are on the other side that have passed on. So I got taken, you know, just thinking about the memories, just some of the emotions of having to deal with it. Each one, you know, just took me to a very deep, deep place. And, you know, the thing that really sparked this was I was just sitting here, and I had 3 very great grandparents, like great. You know, my grandma Clara, my grandmother Rose, G Rose, and my granddaddy T. Like they were just great. And I think grandparents are special. You know, they're able to give unconditional love in a different way than parents. So, you know, I feel like sometimes it's easy to have a special bond with your grandparents. So I just felt all 3 of their love, like, all at once. And then in the immediate switch, I felt the loss of it, like, of not having it anymore on the physical plane. You know, I felt it on the spiritual. You know, I felt the love. I just felt all their love just on me. You know, all 3 of them, just how much they all 3 loved me. And then I thought about just not being able to access it on the physical plane, and it took me to a deep place that I've just pulled myself up from. And I knew that I had to come do this now. So that's where I was. And, you know, just reaching out to anyone who has felt grief. You know, grief is the heaviest emotion. It is that freaking boulder. You know, and a lot of times in grief, there is this numbing thing that happens, you know, particularly when things, you know, a lot of time grief does not really sink in until, you know, later. It's not immediate, like when you're going through that time, you know, when you're losing that person, when you're in the midst of it. The actual grief doesn't hit until later, because a lot of times, I know me, I numb out. I just completely become numb. It's like I can't feel anything. And I feel like a lot of times that is God's protection. just a story of how I feel God protected my grandmother, when my grandfather passed away. I mean, they were together for 60 years, okay, since 14 years old. So they were soulmates, and they were like, nobody expected my grandmother to live after my grandfather passed away. They both were in the hospital at the same time, in the same room. I have a picture of that. My grandmother came home. My grandfather did not. But from the time that, she had dementia, she was beginning to sort of kind of, forget things and, slowly, losing her, But from the moment she left the hospital, it was like she had full-blown Alzheimer's. Like she didn't know nothing. And I feel that was God's protection of her mind, because when my grandfather, she couldn't really conceive that my grandfather passed away. Like she did, she realized, like, but not to the level that it took her to the, it's like God protected her in that way. Like I would see her cry every now and then, but it wasn't like I know she would have if she really, really, really got what was really, going on. She would ask for him every now and then, so I know that God can protect us a lot of times when we're dealing with grief. Either a lot of times to shut us down mentally, or shut us down emotionally to where we can't feel, So that is a time it feels very. I know I felt the numbing. I haven't really felt. Well, it does happen, I think, naturally, because when I did deal with the whole my my boyfriend, it is this surreal kind of feeling, like especially if it's something that's really a shock, not something you're expecting. It's just completely out of the blue. With most of the time someone young, it's the whole thing feels so surreal, like you're in a movie, that you are sort of kind of mentally detached from it. These are just the things that happen in grief when you're dealing with things. I'm just, talking through some of the things that I've been through, that if you've gone through it, you may can relate to it, and that's just all. I mean, I guess I'm just here to say, you're not alone. I guess that's what God has wanted me to put this out here for. So yeah, these are just the things that happen when you deal with a situation. You're talking about grief. Now, like I said, that's sudden, that's out the blue. Like I said, it's shock a lot of times. It's just surreal. And that's what I'm saying. The grief doesn't hit right then because it's surreal. It's like you're not even freaking there really. You're just a part of this movie or whatever. That's how it felt with going through the whole Booth situation. And when one of my exes lost his brother, it was sort of kind of like that too. But just watching his wife go through that whole thing, I felt like I was in a movie again. Felt like I was reliving this again, my whole situation again. I had to go through it in it, and I had to watch it real close up. So I lost a mate, and then I had to watch. Pretty much, she wasn't my sister-in-law as of, we didn't get married, but that's how close we were. But I had to watch, the loss of my brother-in-law, really. We weren't legally married, but this is a man I was with for 17 years, his brother. So, yeah, watching her go through that had made me have to relive my situation. And I think it was 10 years at that point, maybe. But, yeah, so that's how things happen. A lot of times it might happen to you, and then you have to watch it and be close up to it to relive it as well. Let me just, like I said, the emotions are heavy, and so I have to try to receive these downloads. It's hard to be spiritual. I'm not gonna say it's hard to be spiritual, but it's hard to be connected spiritually sometimes when you're dealing with these deep emotions. So I'm trying to balance and my emotions and still receive the message to bring at the same time. So bear with me, please. Let you know, guilt is another emotion that came up. You know, a lot of times guilt is an emotion that can come up alongside grief. Um, and that's something I had to deal with my aunt. I had an aunt that I was, you know, on one side of the family, I was considered her mini me. And so, but she lived far away. She lived in Cincinnati. And we just really didn't have the relationship that, you know, we should have had, you know. So I had a lot of guilt when she passed away, you know, that I hadn't gone to see her, that I hadn't called, you know, called her like I should. Like, it was just a lot of guilt. And I sort of kind of felt that way with my grandfather a little bit because I didn't get a chance to make it, like, you know. And I was coming in, I had a plan to come in with, you know, the herbs, I had the crystals, I was going to come in a savior, you know what I'm saying? So I had to forgive myself. Like, I felt guilt, I felt bad that I didn't make it, that I didn't get my ass, you know. When I found out Monday, I should have got my ass up and left you know, left Monday. You know, that's how I began to feel. And not try to wait, you know what I'm saying? And try to, you know, F a job, F everything. I should have just picked up and, you know, so I had to forgive myself on that. And as I had to forgive myself with my aunt, you know. And the one thing that she helped me with, because that was heavy. Like, my tears and shit over when my Aunt Jackie died was that it was guilt. It was grief that I lost her, but it was, you know, I didn't see her every day. So it wasn't really that grief of loss of her being in my life like that, because it was a grief of guilt that I had. And because the realization that I had when I went to her funeral and went up there was, she was me. Like, when I walked in her home, I saw me. I'm like, I didn't even know she was into this stuff. So I felt like I had missed out on a special soul that I could have got so much from. I reflect, you know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with that. You know, that was a deep, you know, I had to deal with the guilt and the release of that. And talking through this, I feel like I'm still releasing, you know. But guilt, we have to forgive ourselves. You know, she came to me and she was like, look, Katina, she called me Katina, which y'all know Miss Ninti, but that was her name. I mean, I heard her clearly. That's what she called me. She was like, I could have done more too, baby. She said, I could have done more too. She said, I don't want you to take all this. Don't take all this. She said, I could have done more as well to make our relationship better. You know, I was the adult. So when I heard her spirit tell me that, it brought so much peace. That's when the healing began to have peace. You know what I'm saying? It's still, you know, obviously I still got pain behind that. But that's where I began to release and be reminded this morning, you know, that I can release it, you know, I can make peace with it. And I do. So that's what I'm saying about guilt. You know, you have to forgive yourself. You can't go back. We can't go back. Like, I can't reverse the hands of time. So you have to go back. And so that's the first step, like I said, of healing. It's just forgiving God a lot of times. And when it's dealing with grief and when someone's been taken, this is like, you know, because a lot of people, you know, feel that, you know, it's God that did it and that took that person away. And, you know, it is that period of, God, why didn't you, you know, whatever, you know. But, you know, that's not a place that you can allow yourself to stay for any given period of time, because that's going to be what brings you through it. That's going to be what brings you through it, is knowing that, you know, it is a universal law, and we don't have, that's where the acceptance part comes in. You know, we have to accept that it is a universal law, life and death, and we don't have control. We don't have control of that as much as we would love to. We don't. So that's where the acceptance and the release comes in. Um, I'm sorry, guys. It's a little this road is getting sort of kind of busy. I'm sorry if that is a distraction. Um, but yeah, we definitely, have to accept the fact, it's acceptance that we have no control. Forgiving whoever needs to be forgiven, ourselves, God, that person. A lot of times people pass away and we still have unresolved issues with them, that has to be dealt with and released. And then we go to unconditional love. We have to come, that's where our strength of God comes in, is knowing that love never dies. Like I said, the first emotion I felt was their love on me, like a heavy, and I'm feeling it now, and I'm about to, I feel it now, thank God. Because I know, and that's what you said, you got to know and feel that your loved one, you can feel that emotion. You can feel and tap into that emotion of love, the love that you have between you and that person, that never dies. You will always be able to tap into that energy. So tap into that energy instead of the energy of greed, because love is more powerful. Love conquers all. Love is healing. Okay? So, like I said, that has just brought so much. Just my heart has gotten lighter just with that, So pulling on that energy is what is needed. But that unconditional love that never dies, and knowing that that is a gift from God, that ability to still feel that is a gift. And the next thing is understanding the boundaries now, that there is now boundaries. There is the lack of ability to touch, to talk, to do these things, in the normal way that we're used to doing these things. And then we have to look at the final step of rediscovery, that now we have to rediscover a new way of communication, a new way of connecting, whether it's setting up an altar, whether it is, whatever you do in remembrance. I'm hoping I can get a picture on here. We really went sort of really bigger than anybody else in my family when it came to my grandfather and my grandmother. I'm going to try to show you their gravesite. So just to remember something, we have a bench with our last name in it. We just sort of kind of went all out. So that is a way to remember and to connect, to show honor. That I'm big on that. That is what I am. I mean, to me, people at the ancestral worship and all this other stuff that they call it, I don't see it in that way. I was commenting on something the other day, and I'm like, it's sad that remembering your ancestors, remembering people that loved you, remembering people that changed your diaper, remembering people that fed you, remembering people that washed you and cleaned you, provided for you, took care of you, remembering them in death is evil. Why? Why is that evil? Why is that looked upon as something that is wrong and negative? It's not. And I'm not going to make anybody make me feel like it is. Just because it's got a name or a title or this or that, the reality is I'm connecting with my ancestors, with people that loved me from the other side. And I have that right to do that without being looked at as evil or the devil. I mean, I'm connected to God, the source. I realize He's the one that gives me the ability to connect to them, to feel this love, to have this spiritual connection to them. We are all still under Him and His energy, the source. We're all created by Him. Them too, on the spiritual plane. So don't get lost in this, people. Don't get lost and confused and feel like you're negative or that you're evil or whatever for reaching out and connecting to your loved one on the spiritual plane. Because there's nothing evil and negative about that. Okay? It's about the intention that's in your heart. If you have no negative intentions in your heart, there's no nothing. It's love. This is love. It's love. Okay? So that is the message. That is the download. Like I said, grief, as things, come to being, really start growing here in Ninti's heart chakra. I want to see this. I see this. I envision this as growing into, webinars, talking together with people, but it has to grow. So it's important for you guys to like, share, and subscribe, and to, bring the people in that need to see this and need this kind of healing. It's about healing the pain of this world that's out here right now. And the pain is coming in many forms. Many forms. So, this is just one aspect of it. And, but yeah, in the future, as things begin to grow, I see this growing and helping people heal from this kind of stuff just by sharing my experiences and going through these healing processes and helping people walk through these healing processes and being able to release that grief, the energy of grief, and begin to, focus more and connect more in that energy of unconditional love that stands the test of time, stands the test of planes, material, mental, physical. Love that heals. God is love. Okay. Guys, we're going to thank the Most High, the Creator, the Source, for that. For whoever it helps, for whoever can resonate, whoever heart it can touch. We thank Him. We thank the Creator, the Source, that energy of however it manifests in your life, however you see it in your life, by whatever name you call it. We thank that energy for the healing that this can bring and begin to bring, one heart at a time. And we ask Most High to allow Mother Oshun to touch the hearts of those who want to be touched with love. Peace and love. Healing, love, and light. Until next time.